Hi, Shannon. Thank you so much for joining me on an episode of Hear Me Out. How are you?
I'm good, April. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk to you.
Yeah. So I like to start off by asking all my guests, what is your connection to hearing loss?
So with hearing loss, I have been hard of hearing pretty much for my whole life. I feel like it wasn't as noticeable as when I was in grade school. I kind of just got through it, like reading lips. Um, I will say that my father is hearing impaired. He's been wearing hearing aids pretty much all my life. I remember, him putting it in. But for some reason, like I never sat down and I was like, "Hey, Dad, would this affect me?" Like we never talked about it. So when I was in grade school, like I noticed that whenever I wore my glasses, I would hear better. Or whenever like we were being called for roll, and I would kind of mistake my name with someone else's name. And just certain instances where I was like, no, something might be up. For the most part, I don't think my teachers ever said anything to my mom and dad. Um, but once I started working, I noticed that it became a problem. I would answer the phone and not really understand what people are saying, the small talk with the big meetings, and I'd be like kind of lost. So I got my hearing aids when I was 22 years old, and that was through the program that we have here in the United States, or at least in Florida, vocational rehab. If you're an individual that is trying to get a job or keep a job, vocational rehab helps you get hearing aids. So I was able to get my first pair, yeah, through them, and it was free. You know how much it costs, so yeah, thank God for that. And that's just my connection. I'm a hearing impaired, hard of hearing individual, and that's my personal connection with it.
Oh, amazing. Well, thank you for sharing it. I call myself hearing impaired. I find it easier to say. So
I
hearing
know,
impaired, hard of
sorry.
hearing, interchangeable for me.
I try to be, now that I know more, because when I was younger, we didn't have the resources that we have right now, social media, just connecting with other individuals. Um, we didn't know what was politically correct or
Right.
not. So, I've been saying hearing impaired, but now I'm like, hard of hearing, deaf, capital D deaf, lowercase d deaf. There's all these different classifications.
Totally. So let's dive into talking about being a mom with hearing loss. We both have that in common. And I'm just curious, what was your initial feeling when you found out you were pregnant? I know there's a lot of feelings that go with it, but the additional kind of factor of having hearing loss. Let's kind of talk about that.
Exactly. So, I mean, obviously, there's the excitement, like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. I do have a mom and a sister that are, obviously also moms. I feel like, we all have the excitement, but when they probably find out they were pregnant, or, they don't have the hearing, hard of hearing that I am, I don't think anyone's initial thought is like, how am I going to be able to hear my baby? So that was a worry for me. Not a prominent worry, but I mean, towards the end of the pregnancy, you kind of think like, oh my God, how am I, when I sleep at night, I take my hearing aids off. How am I going to hear my baby? Or, just if you're doing something else and I miss like the doorbell, I miss some other thing. What if she starts crying and I'm not able to hear her? So there was that worry that factored in to it. And I feel like I'm already anxious. I think I've heard the term like death anxiety, where you kind of want to plan for, oh, what is this person going to ask me? What do I think I'm going to hear? That sort of stuff. So I guess I felt like it was a little bit more amplified. um, because I'm thinking like, okay, well, what if, she wakes up in the night and I can't hear her? It did kind of get a little bit intense once I had her. Or once I found out I was pregnant, that just kind of really amped up my worries. So that was just being as a deaf individual. That's how I felt when I found out I was pregnant.
Yeah, I felt that too. It was just it was a lot to comprehend, just like becoming a
Right.
mom for the first time, plus the
Mhm.
hearing loss. Like for the first 4 months when she was born, I wore my hearing aids 24/7, which like
Yes.
looking back now was like a lot. My brain never got a chance to just turn off, but
Mhm.
that's what my like anxiety was telling me you have to do.
Mhm.
And so that was just, yeah, I feel that like it's intensified, like you said.
Yes,
Definitely.
yes. And the same thing too. Like I wore my hearing aids, slept with them. I just did not want to miss anything because you just have that fear and it's a normal fear even when you don't have a child, as an individual with hearing loss, you don't want to miss, okay, what if the fire alarm goes off or something like that. So it's just, you worry so much when it's just you without being a mom, you worry so much for yourself, and now you are a mom and you have to worry about this little person.
Totally, totally. Yeah. And how did you find the process of like being in labor with hearing loss? Like, how did you advocate your needs? Were people respectful? Were they like welcoming of your accommodations?
Mhm. Well, I will say that I got a lot of support from my children's father. He's very supportive of me and definitely advocated for me. Like if I wasn't understanding a doctor, say like the stenographer, they were turned away from me and they weren't talking to me, he would say, "Hey, she's hearing impaired. Please, look at her when you're talking to her." Or if I missed something, he would make sure that they repeat it. Um, I I had my daughter in 2020. So if you remember, 2020 was COVID. Yes. So I feel like it's also a unique experience because I mean there's so many to like unravel here because she was also premature. She had
Okay.
born 2 months earlier. So I had her, yeah, January 2020. I'm in the emergency room, and I think this was before COVID became like a pandemic. And people are there, they're doing the test, they have the thing strapped around me, and I'm just like, what's going on? But I did let the nurses know, that I was hearing impaired, and one sat down with me and kind of explained to me that they would have to take her out in order to kind of stabilize her heart rate and all that. So I mean, it was scary, but for the most part people were very understanding about it. It's just after she was born, she was in the NICU for about 2 months, and March 2020 was when the mask mandate, everything started going on. Oh, gosh, it was a lot. People weren't at the start of COVID. They weren't as easy to take off their mask and be understanding about lip reading as they were maybe towards the end of the COVID. So it was just more about having the support, the people in my life that would hear for me and then say what the doctors were saying. But it was pretty difficult just at the
Well,
time, just being COVID.
right. Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that your husband is so supportive. Mine as well. Like he knew, when to step in, when to like wait to see if I could understand.
Mhm.
So that's wonderful. And how was it with your second child? Was it a similar experience minus like
Oh
the COVID
gosh.
craziness?
Well, my second child, he was born in 2021, so like the later half of 2021, and we were kind of going back into work. Stuff was getting back to normal. It wasn't as bad. And I feel like since I was through it before at a very like high anxiety and high level time, it was kind of the same thing. And they were more willing to like put their mask down if I said I wasn't understanding. So it wasn't as bad, but just me personally, when I found out I was pregnant with the second, I'm like, how am I gonna do this again? Putting myself through that anxiety, because now I have to hear a newborn baby, and my toddler, she was like 1.5, I think, at that time. So it's added another layer to my anxiety.
No, I can imagine. I mean, we're not at that like second child time yet, but yeah, I think that's one thing people maybe don't quite understand or grasp about the hearing loss is like the added anxiety that comes with it. I mean, not
Mhm.
everyone necessarily has it, but
But-
I think it's always shadowing for me at
mhm.
least. Like the anxiety is kind of there, but I don't know. Yeah, it's one extra thing you have to think about. Um,
Yes, yes. I feel like it's, yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know about you, but like there were times that I was kind of scared being alone with them because I'm
Right.
like, how am I gonna, what if I miss something? What if I miss an important, there's an alarm or I don't know, you never know with kids. So, yes, a part of it is me maybe overthinking, maybe being over anxious, but also you do kind of want to be prepared. So, I don't know, I just try my best.
Absolutely. And that's all we can do is try our best. I mean, early on,
Mhm.
whenever I would shower, I would hear like ghost cries. Like she wasn't
Oh my
actually crying, but
gosh.
I'd feel the need to like get out of the shower so fast. And my husband's like, no, she's
Yes.
okay. Like she's sleeping. I'm like, okay, but like I don't know if I'm like hearing it, even though I know like I can't hear. Like I'm like, I feel like I can hear her crying. Like my mother instincts are just like
Right.
on edge.
That's not even, I didn't even get it. Like, think about that. A simple thing like a shower. We are hearing impaired individuals. If we take a shower and it was like I had to have them one in a bouncy seat, one in the playpen. And then what if she climbs out of the playpen while I'm like, I don't know. It's a lot. I feel like it gets easier, but when they were so young, it was really a lot.
Yeah.
Lot.
And do you have like a baby monitor that you love? Like,
Well, when my daughter was younger, we had the outlet, the
okay,
sock, smart sock. So
right.
that pretty much was connected to my phone. I would see like when she was awake, when her breathing rate, I think it was heart rate, all that stuff. So it is pretty expensive, but I think I registered for it. I forgot, but thank God I worked with such kind people that they all chipped in, and I was able to get it. And I used it for my daughter and my son.
That's
So it's called
awesome.
the Outlet Smart Sock, I think.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I
Yeah.
find like whenever I go and stay at like my parents' house or something and I have the camera and I'm always looking at it, they're like, why do you keep checking? I'm like, because I can't hear. So I like to see her. So I
Exactly.
keep glancing to see, like, I know it might look crazy, but like it just reduces my anxiety to some level when
Yes.
I can just glance over every few minutes just to see, okay, like
Hmm.
it's hard to explain because most people are like, okay, but she's sleeping, she's fine. I'm like, right, but if she woke up or cried, you would probably hear that right away, whereas it might not, you know, click in right away for me. So
Exactly. Like you'd hear it in the background, you'd be like, "What's going on?" And then you just look at the camera, and you're like, "Oh, okay, that's what's happening." I think also I want to
totally.
say we put the Echo. We have an Amazon Echo like camera, and I think for while they were very very young, we put it kind of in the corner of the crib so that we could see, at least for my son, so that we could see when he woke up and everything. But the Outlet Smart Sock really helped me a lot with the anxiety.
Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Um, and so now you have two toddlers. They've kind of grown up a little bit. Have you found any added challenges having toddlers with hearing loss? I mean, toddlers are hectic on their own, but has there been anything um, where you found some solutions that have worked for you, or just any tips and tricks for other moms with toddlers who have hearing loss?
Well, well, I mean, I feel like we have our normal mother experience that we can relate to
Right.
other mothers, hearing loss or not. But the hearing loss kind of puts an added level to being overstimulated. I mean, if the kids are loud, they're screaming all day. I can't just while they're up, at least I can't just be like, okay, let me take my hearing aids off. Because again, what if I miss something? So I kind of have to just okay, let them be kids. I didn't know that level of being overstimulated until having kids. Um, what I find, you got to do what's best for you. You find what works for you. And even if it's co-sleeping, I mean, it's obviously whatever your
Mostly.
comfort level is. If you feel like you have to go to sleep, you need your rest obviously within the first
Yeah.
couple months. So if you have to co-sleep with them, co-sleep with them. um Now I kind of, like I said, I just you kind of just find what works for you. I feel like my oldest, my 4-year-old, she understands. I do sit down and I talk to her like, mommy, where's these so I can hear you better. they always ask the questions, and the most you could do is just be open with them and let them know what's going on. So she actually, I tell her, if I can't see your mouth, I can't understand what you're saying, and she kind of helps me. And she shows me like her mouth shapes and stuff like that. So it's very cute. Yeah, it's so nice.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet. I'm so glad you brought up the point of overstimulation because yesterday I was having a day and I couldn't like explain. I was like, I am overstimulated, but you're right. Like you can't just take them out. Like, I mean, I could take them out for like a minute or something, but
Hmm.
my daughter's just starting to talk. So it's like, I can't really read her lips or like follow her too well right now. So
Hmm.
it just, you're right. It's one of those things you like. I mean, everyone can get overstimulated, but I didn't
Right.
realize how overstimulated I could be. And like if the fan was on or like all these extra sounds that my hearing aids were picking up, I'm like, no, it's just
Hmm.
no.
You're hearing everything, and it's adding to, okay, this toddler crying or whining or something, and their kids are gonna do it, but it's like it's just for us, it's just so much to process,
So
I feel.
yeah,
And I
it's
said that, my mom and my sister, they don't have they're not hard of hearing. It's normally just on my dad's side, but I would talk to them, but I don't think they fully understand my struggle, because it's a
yeah,
different, I feel like it's a
totally.
different level to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I find that too some hard times like trying to explain what I'm going through with related to hearing loss. And like you said, like they don't have hearing loss, so they might not get like they're like, yeah, I get that too, but it's like, no, but it's on like another like intense
Exactly.
level of,
Hmm.
overstimulation or hearing fatigue. Like, yeah, we're tired at the end of the day, but like
There we go.
we're like
Really.
tired at the end of the day. Like not to
Yes.
make like an excuse or be over like exaggerated here, but like when my husband's like, why do you go to bed so early? I'm like, I just need to unplug. I need to unplug
Exactly.
and go to sleep. And it's just so nice.
Exactly, exactly. It's almost difficult to explain to somebody that does not have hearing loss. And I feel
Yeah.
like there's so many mom pages out there with, mom tips, mom hacks, and stuff like that. But I wanted to open up about hearing loss and motherhood because it's a unique journey.
Yeah.
Um, and while we sympathize with moms all over with, different walks of life, it needs to be talked about because it's a unique experience in itself.
Absolutely. And do you wear battery charged hearing aids or rechargeable
I have batteries. Yeah, I have to
too?
put the
Okay.
batteries in. Oh my
That's
gosh.
another
So
added
another.
level of scariness because those little batteries, like, it's just
Oh my
another thing
gosh.
on top of it all. It's just,
Yes, and I have to stay stocked up with my batteries because, God forbid they run out and we're on a trip or something like that. It's a lot.
yeah, yeah.
Oh.
It's all those little extra things we have to think about. Like, did I pack everything for the kids? But do I have all of my hearing loss accessories too
Hmm.
to, be able to be successful for the trips? All these little
Exactly.
extra things. Um, and one question I often get asked as a mom with hearing loss is to new moms or people who are thinking about it, like, do you have any tips or tricks? Or like, were you worried? Like, what words of advice would you give to, someone with hearing loss who's considering having kids? Like, what would you
Mhm.
say to them if they're nervous or worried?
Well, actually, I'm glad you brought this question up. Someone that actually did reach out to me, one of my followers, and she noticed, I'm a mom. She's just kind of like, just how do you do it? But you definitely want to reach out to people that have hearing loss as well, kind of understand the experience. You have to understand it. Everything, it's not going to be easy, and you have to be upfront with. You have to kind of know that going into it, it's not going to be easy. But like I said, you find what works for you. If it is having your hearing is in 24 hours a day for the first 4 months, that's just what's going to happen. Another good tip is find that baby monitor or that camera or something that will help with your anxiety while the child is sleeping. Um, Another thing that helped me out a lot, I want to say, is my support system, my mom, my sister, my baby father. All of them played a very big part in supporting me, especially the first couple months, and then once I had the newborn and the toddler, just kind of working through what worked for me, and I could not have done it without them. Like, I really will say that you want to find your support system, because that will help out a lot.
That's amazing. And if people wanted to get in contact with you to kind of pick your brain and talk to you more about, being a mom with hearing loss, how can they get in touch with you?
I'm active on my Instagram page. My Instagram is Shan B underscore Mama SQD. I kind of put it like that because Mama squared, I'm a mom of two. So that's what I tried to make it simpler for people. But you can always reach out to me on there. Like I said, a follower of mine, she actually just, DM'd me and was just like, "How do you do it?" And I did tell her that I was going to be speaking with another mom with hearing loss. So she'll be happy to see this episode. And I just feel like we just kind of just need to talk about it a lot. Like I said, there's so many regular, oh, mom hacks, mom tips and stuff. But I feel like if we as mothers with hearing loss talk about our experience, and a lot of people will sympathize with us.
No, absolutely. And I think that's such a good point is the support system. Like, unfortunately, not everyone does have a great support system. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why I've been so big on advocacy is because I've had such great support. It's encouraged me to help those who don't. So I think that's amazing
Hmm.
that you have such wonderful support. And
Hmm.
like you said, yeah, there are those mom groups, but again, everyone's mom experience is like the same but different. Like we all have those similar things we go through, but then there's those unique aspects, like having hearing loss
Exactly.
that not everyone understands. And yeah, it's just so wonderful to connect with
It
another mom with
just
hearing
helps to
loss
have
because
somebody else.
yeah, to get it.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
that's the
it helps
biggest
a
thing
lot.
is it is a lot. And like especially as a new mom, like sometimes you feel like you're thinking things that like only you're feeling. So it's nice to be able to vent it out, to
Hmm. Hmm.
digest it all.
Exactly. And I always think about like the single mothers that don't have that support of having the baby father there, or the grandmas, grandpas around. Um, it's a lot. Postpartum mental health is very important. And just adding to, having hearing loss, it's a lot of things going on at once. So if they see that they have that support out there, they can reach out and actually use it and be better prepared to handle that period
Yeah,
of their life.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this has been such a pleasure speaking with you and connecting about being a mom. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to talk to me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited about this conversation, and I really hope to have more opportunities.
Yes. Well, thanks again.
Thanks. Bye.